cooped up in like a place all the time. I gotta be out in the sun doing things.
I'm not the type of person to be stuck in an office type of thing. Like, this is what I like doing, and I like being outside and stuff like that.
A job where I got paid to learn would be really cool.
Here you learn all different kinds of things. Like, you learn about densities, you learn about building roads, you learn how to interact with different people.
I love working with my hands. I like working actually with my hands instead of on a desk. When you're working on a desk, you're writing with paper. Actually, when you're working on a field, you actually see what you're doing.
I tell my nephews, my nieces, see that highway, see that stretch of road, I paved that. And it makes me feel good.
That's what I'd really like, is to start doing something in construction maybe and then end up being the boss of it.
I've seen lots of guys come up through the ranks, and that's where they get their supervisors is from operators, because they're the ones that do the work, they know how to do the work.
Hey, I'm Joe. Now, those people you just heard were talking about job satisfaction. So what do you want in a career? The opportunity to build something with your own hands, on-the-job training, good pay for hard work, the chance to move up in a company, or maybe you just want to drive one of these bad boys down to the disco on Friday night. I'm not so sure, but Heidi's here and she knows. So Heidi, where can we find all this?
Well, Joe, you can find all that and a lot more in the road building and heavy construction industry.
Oh, what's that?
Well, road building and heavy construction is an industry that involves all aspects of construction of municipal roads, highways, sewer and water, as well as site preparation for residential, commercial, and industrial. Now, how all this starts is you have to start with planning and design, which is engineers and cost estimators and surveyors work together to establish how the project is going to be done, where it's going to be done, how much it's going to cost. Then we send crews out to the site to clear the brush, do the earth moving, the grading, and prepare the site for the project. And then once that's done, the paving crews come in, they lay down the asphalt and pour the concrete for the roads and the sidewalks. There are also crews who come in and put in culverts and ditches and do other underground work and drainage work. And then, of course, included in all that, there's the building of any bridges and overpasses and other major structures like interchanges that are part of roads and highways. And then the other side to the industry is the supply side, which involves suppliers of gravel, asphalt, and cement, as well as places like this one, which is a heavy equipment supplier. There's also the aspect of maintaining and repairing heavy equipment. There's also the administrative side of things with safety and training and the general administration of a construction office.
We're at the job site usually about 6:45, get running by 7. Dinner we take a little later at 1, it kind of breaks up the day. We take another coffee at 4 and then we're done about 7. After that, I'm usually in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock because we got a pretty long day ahead of us the next day. There's a lot of past experiences. A lot of guys have worked together for 15, 20 years. And they may be from different provinces, but they still know each other, as pretty good friends.
Now, building bridges and roads and running this high-powered equipment may appeal to a lot of people, but how do you know if you've got the right stuff? The tough as nails, sandpaper skin, all-Canadian hockey-playing hero, right stuff to do this kind of work.
When you're a young kid, if you enjoyed playing in a sandbox, chances are you're going to enjoy working in the gravel industry.
This kind of job, you wouldn't want to do it just for the money. You want to do it to enjoy it, you like it, you want to do a good job. And because total quality is what this is all about.
The kind of person that would do well in this type of job is first somebody who is self-motivated. A lot of the work that we do is physical labor. You have to lift things. And enjoys the outdoors. We're outside all the time. We also look for people that have an education. I know for myself, lately I've been doing a lot of surveying. And I think back to myself in high school when I said, oh, when do I need this algebra? And now I'm finding that I could really use that algebra that I didn't really study when I was in high school.
First of all, you have to want to do it. You'll kind of know you'll like big equipment like I do. I love operating at the start. And you just learn from there. Like, there's lots of stuff I didn't even know about at the start. Next thing I knew, a little bit more, and it got more interesting. And after that, I just don't want to leave it.
As a foreman, I have to look after the materials as they're being, ordering the quantities that I need for the day's work, and then looking after the work, making sure that the work's being done the way it should be. Generally, by paying attention and learning from the experienced workers that have been doing it for years, that's where you learn from, and that's where you gain your experience and knowledge.
Through my voodoo psychic powers, I know you want to ask me this question. Is there work out there? And if I actually had a job, would they accept a personal check for one of these babies?
Well, it's a great time to be entering this sector, the road builder and heavy construction sector. There is an aging workforce, so there's going to be a lot of pending retirements, which will open up lots of positions in the sector. Also, there's a lot of major projects happening across the country, whether it's the Olympics in British Columbia, the oil sands in Alberta, the expansion and redevelopment of the Greater Toronto Airport Authority in Ontario, or the waterfront redevelopment. There's lots of urban development happening across the country, whether it's Ontario, BC, Alberta, Quebec. There's some very significant hydro projects in Quebec. And of course, everybody knows about the East Coast with the offshore oil sands, and you can't get oil out of the ocean until you build things first. And that's where the demand is across the country.
I like being outdoors. I like driving. And if you like driving, then if the season is going well, and next year if it's busy, and if everything goes well, like eventually a person can have a fleet of their own. It's an opportunity, but it's very seasonal. It all depends. Like if it rains a lot, then there's no work. So you have to be very well prepared that when you do make a little bit of money, you put it away. So when there's no work, you're all set.
So I finish high school, I get a job, and they hand me a shovel. Well, is there much opportunity for me to move up? Because what I really want is the keys to this machinery, to the company truck, and maybe later the executive washer.
First of all, you start off labor and you work your way up. So you're always getting on more experience and harder to operate equipment. For example, the cats are up there a finishing cat operator takes a lot of time. Same with the grader operator. Once you become a finishing operator, you're making good money and you're putting the final touches on the roads and the ditches and everything.
I went from just being a carpenter on site to being the foreman, and from foreman eventually to be a site superintendent. And for some people, they don't like to have that responsibility. For myself, I consider it a challenge, and that's why I really enjoy doing what I do.
I've worked as a laborer on a road crew, I've been a foreman on a road crew, I've been a superintendent on projects, I've been estimator, I've looked after divisions. I worked my way up and got to the point where I am now, where I've got some ownership in the company I work for now.
So you're going to take this stuff out of here and then move it down? And, okay, I'll talk to you later. My job is basically to look after the equipment. Keep an eye on the grade, as they're coming up with their grade. Making sure the dirt is put where it's supposed to be so it's not moved twice. I started operating when I was 17. Just operating packer, and gradually got onto dozer and cats, and then gradually onto buggy, and ran scraper for 11 years. And then got the opportunity to do the grade foreman job, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
I just bought this for the creation of my super happy fun miniature golf course. But now back to business. What's the bottom line, like on the paycheck?
I'm saving enough money next spring to buy a Harley, and I'm rebuilding old cars.
We're doing better than paying our bills. The economy's good, and we have lots of work. We're making a good living for my family, yes.
If you reside in any urban center across the country, you can generally expect to earn about $25 an hour. I know in my own company, we employ some 800 people, and most of our employees make between $50,000 and $100,000 a year, and they have the winters off.
In the heavy-duty equipment business, downtime is very costly to our customers and contractors. A heavy-duty technician will go out, troubleshoot the equipment, repair the equipment, and make an effective repair to keep the customer running and keep him productive. To become a technician like Gary, you have to work on your apprenticeship during a 4-year period of time.
Well, Buddy's on a 4-year apprenticeship program, and lots of other people have worked their way up from a laborer. So there's a lot of great options. Now I bet you want to know how to get started. Well, let's ask Heidi.
Well, certain jobs like engineer, surveyor, and designer do require some formal schooling as well as some on-the-job training.
In large urban centers, particularly in the eastern part of the country, it would be necessary for you to register with the operating engineers if that's your interest, or with the laborers union if you'd like to take up a skill like carpentry or form setting or pipe laying or concrete finishing. And, and once that happens, you would get dispatched or picked by an employer to come work in their particular company.
To get a job in road building and heavy construction, you can go straight to a company office and fill out an application form, or what's even better is you can put together a resume with your interests and any work experience you might have and take it in person to the construction office. Or certainly you can talk to anyone that you might know in heavy construction. That's always a great resource. But to find out about any of these apprenticeship programs, about getting a job, or about writing a resume, you can talk to your teacher, your guidance counselor, or your principal if you're still in school.
For more information about a career in road building and heavy construction, contact your provincial association. For a complete listing of provincial associations, visit the website of the Canadian Construction Association at www.cca-acc.com, or you can contact the Construction Sector Council in Ottawa at area code 613-569-5552, or on the web at www.csc-ca.org.
The way I see it, the best way to learn more about this career is to actually work in it. I mean, if you like it, great, and if you don't, you've picked up some pretty valuable skills. Well, like if I had the skills to run this machine, I don't think garbage day would be such a hassle.
You got 25 or 30 tons of steel underneath you that you're in control of. It's your responsibility, and there's good money in it too.
By far the most important part is to graduate out of grade 12. That'll leave a lot of options open for you. In this type of business here, it's open to anything. You can shift either way. You make a bit of money. If you don't like it, you can either go back to school, or if you're enjoying what you're doing, work your way up.
I think construction needs more women in construction. It's very demanding, but I think they need like a woman's touch.
Different aspects to the job. You have to be prepared to do everything. Everybody works together, and that's what makes the job turn out.
Brought to you by the Road Builders and Heavy Construction Council of the Canadian Construction Association, working for a strong road building industry in Canada.